What's up, you guys? My name is Jessica, and today we're going to be talking all about what I did to prepare for the Google Level 1 exam and how long it took me in order to take the exam. So if you're interested, just keep on watching, but don't forget to like this video and comment down below what you are doing as well to prepare for the Level 1 exam. And if you have any comments or suggestions for me for what I should do to prepare for the Level 2 exam, leave those down in the comment box below, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, the first thing that I ended up doing in order to prepare for the Google Level 1 exam was I ended up taking a free webinar through the Learning Technology Center of Illinois. Now, how I did that was I ended up getting an email sometime last spring asking if I wanted to do this, and my principal basically suggesting that it was open to anybody who wanted to take it. So I jumped on that opportunity. COVID happened, and now we're going back to remote learning in the fall, so I'm really happy that I took that opportunity. If you're not in Illinois, maybe your state has something very similar to the Learning Institute, what's it called? The Learning Technology Center of Illinois. Maybe your state has something similar to that. So I would just look into that. Maybe ask your principal or technology center at your school if there's any of those opportunities available. The second thing I ended up doing in order to prepare was I took advantage of the free Google trainings through the Teacher Center on the Google for Education website. Now, these are crazy long modules, and honestly, if you've used Google Classroom before, you've used Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, all of those, you don't really need to go through and watch every single one of the videos. All you have to do is answer the questions down at the bottom of each of the different lessons. And then what I did too was I ended up taking a unit exam and then the practice exam at the very end. I did pay more attention to the areas that I needed to improve in, which those for me were Google Sheets. Google Sites I was familiar with, but I've never actually made a site. Google Blogger, and what else? Google Groups is what I really needed help with for me personally, because I didn't really know how to use those. I don't use those on a daily basis like I do Docs or Slides or Classroom. So I needed to definitely have a refresher with that. And then the third thing that I did was I ended up looking up a couple different videos on YouTube. There's one guy named Josh, I have his name written down, Josh Sowash on YouTube, and I'll link the video that I used from him down below. He takes the Google Level 1 exam every year in order to make videos to give tips and everything like that. So I ended up watching his most recent video from 2019, and it just gave some really good tips and information for taking the Google Level 1 exam. Now, as a teacher, the things that I needed to practice because I wasn't as familiar with, I mentioned Google Sheets earlier. Google Sheets, I needed to practice the sort function and the filtering function as well. I wasn't as familiar with that. I just played around with it a little bit. I watched a YouTube video on how to really incorporate that into organizing data. Another thing that I ended up needing to practice a little bit was Google Blogger. For this, all I ended up doing was I ended up making a blog, and I practiced adding in like a couple different things, but that was really it for Google Blogger. And on my exam, it didn't even come up, but it could come up on yours. And then the biggest thing that I really needed to practice was Google Groups. Now with Google Groups, obviously you make a group, and within that group, it gives a specific unique email address for that group, almost kind of like a domain for that email address. And that was the thing that came up or could come up the most on your Level 1 exam. Now, with Level 2, I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I would imagine that Google Groups would be on there, just like Google Blogger will probably be on the level 2 exam, because I didn't really see that much on level 1. And then finally with Google Sites, I did end up practicing a little bit with Google Sites, just making sure I knew how to add in a page and knowing how to add in like a document to a page and a picture to a page, just making sure I was familiar with that. All right, and then lastly, what I found was
something went wrong. Try again in a few seconds.
Okay, Google. And then finally, with the level 1 exam, a couple good things to know is more theory, philosophical based. Really keep in mind the reason that we're using technology is to enhance the standards, all right? It always starts with the standards and then bringing in technology to engage the students and to engage with the curriculum to meet the standards. Also, a couple digital citizenship questions did come up on my exam. It could come up on your exam as well, but make sure you know why students need to know and understand good digital citizenship and the ethics behind that too. So those are the 3 different things that I did to prepare for the Google Level 1 exam. Again, if you have any questions for me, please leave them down below. Also, comment down below what you did in order to prepare for the Google Level 1 exam too. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and don't forget to subscribe. Bye guys. Also, a couple digital citizenship, also a couple digital citizenship questions did come up on the exam.